Discovery continuing to go through a pre-programmed series of maneuvers and roll reversals to increase the drag on the orbiter, slowing the airspeed to the proper coefficient that will enable it to arrive around the heading alignment circle at the landing site at the Kennedy Space Center at the proper altitude with the proper velocity for main gear touchdown. Discovery currently at an altitude of 250,000 feet as it approaches Baja California. Range to touchdown 2,600 nautical miles. Time to touchdown 24 minutes. Discovery now banking to the right in another in the series of roll reversals designed to dissipate speed and provide enough airspace for the orbiter to maneuver in the final minutes before touchdown to arrive at the landing site at the proper velocity, at the proper altitude for its onboard computers to do the rest and to take it to the heading alignment cylinder, the mythical cone around which pilots use as a point of reference to take over manual control during their final turn into the runway. In this case, it's runway 33 at the Kennedy Space Center. The southeast to northwest approach, the 3-mile-long landing strip ready to receive the orbiter just 13.5 minutes from now. Discovery at an altitude of about 175,000 feet. Range to touchdown 500 nautical miles. Currently at an altitude of 160,000 feet, dropping at about 400 feet per second. Range to touchdown around 300 nautical miles as the orbiter approaches the west coast of Florida north of the Tampa Bay area. Time to touchdown 11 minutes. All of Discovery systems in good shape.
Discovery Houston, energy, ground track, and nav are go, and you're go to take TACANS.
Taking TACANS.
The tactical air navigation units aboard Discovery are 3 redundant units that receive tactical data of range, elevation, and bearing from radio beacons located at the Kennedy Space Center. That information is being processed on board the 4 primary general-purpose computers on Discovery, which is guiding it to runway 33 and a landing just 10 minutes from now. All of Discovery systems in good shape as it now enters Florida airspace at an altitude of 142,000 feet. Range to touchdown just 200 miles. Currently at an altitude of 120,000 feet. Just 130 miles from the Kennedy Space Center. All of Discovery systems continue to function by the book in what has been a very clean descent from Earth orbit and its 9-day mission. This view of the shuttle landing facility at the Kennedy Space Center. Discovery's arrival in Brevard County will be announced by double sonic booms in about 2.5 minutes or so. Commander Tom Hendricks, pilot Kevin Kriegel.
Discovery Houston, take air data.
Taking air data.
Hendricks, Kriegel, and their crewmates Don Thomas, Nancy Curry, and Mary Ellen Weber now at an altitude of 93,000 feet. The air data probes having been deployed on the orbiter, providing information to computers and cockpit displays regarding the movement of the orbiter through the lower air mass. The probes are located on the left and right side of the forward lower fuselage. Discovery now just 65 nautical miles from the runway at the Kennedy Space Center. Time to touchdown 6.5 minutes. Discovery entering the area of Terminal Area Energy Management, as it is called, traveling 2.5 times the speed of sound. The shuttle being put through its final banking maneuvers to bleed off excess speed prior to its arrival at the so-called heading alignment circle. This initial view from long-range tracking cameras at the Kennedy Space Center showing Discovery barreling in for its touchdown less than 6 minutes from now. Discovery currently at an altitude of 75,000 feet, dropping at a rate of 260 feet per second. Range to touchdown, 40 nautical miles. Time to touchdown, 5.5 minutes.
Discovery Houston, we see you on energy approaching the hack. No update to winds or weather, and your go for a nominal shoot deploy.
Nominal shoot deploy.
Five minutes left in Discovery's journey, now at an altitude of 61,000 feet, just 30 miles from runway 33 at the Kennedy Space Center. Discovery about to go subsonic near Titusville. Commander Tom Hendricks has now assumed manual control, flying the orbiter, taking over from automatic computers as he begins to negotiate his way around the so-called heading alignment cylinder, the mythical point of reference that commanders and pilots use to align themselves with their landing strip. Hendricks leveling off the wings as he begins to negotiate a 237-degree turn, aligning himself with runway 33, the southeast and northwest approach, and an end to Discovery's 21st mission. Time to touchdown, just 3 minutes. Discovery at an altitude of 31,000 feet. The vortices of the moist air in the early morning hours at the Kennedy Space Center streaming off of Discovery's wings.
Discovery Houston on energy at the 180.
On energy.
Discovery Houston on energy at the 90.
On energy.
Hendricks now completing his turn to align himself with runway 33 at the Kennedy Space Center. Time to touchdown.
Inside Houston.
Discovery Houston, copy. Runway in sight. About 90 seconds away from touchdown. Discovery now at an altitude of about 13,000 feet as it completes its final alignment to runway 33. Discovery's speed brake comes open as the orbiter now aligned with runway 33. Its final descent 7 times steeper than that of a commercial jetliner on final approach. Less than a minute from touchdown. A final pre-flare maneuver of Discovery's nose by Commander Tom Hendricks. Pilot Kevin Kriegel will drop the landing gear. Main gear touchdown. Kriegel now deploys the drag chute. Nose gear touchdown. Discovery rolling out on runway 33 at the Kennedy Space Center to complete a 3.7 million mile mission, leaving behind in orbit NASA's newest tracking and data relay satellite.
Wheel stop, Houston.
Discovery Houston, copy. Wheel stop. Welcome home, Tom and crew. Stand by for your post-landing deltas. Discovery Houston, we have no deltas to post-landing. You're cleared to pick up on page 5-3.
Putting in work.
And we would like ammonia controller Bravo to secondary on.
Bravo secondary on now.
With Discovery back home at the Kennedy Space Center, we'll start a series of replays of various views of the final moments of Discovery's entry and landing on runway 33. Those replays from the Kennedy Space Center will begin in just a few minutes on NASA television. The post-landing news conference is coming up a short time from now. That will feature Brewster Shaw, the Director of Space Shuttle Operations, and Rich Jackson, the Entry Flight Director, who will be discussing all of the issues involved in yesterday's wave-off of the landing and today's successful landing of Discovery to wrap up the 4th shuttle mission of the year.
Leading the astronauts is Steve Hawley, followed by our commander Tom Hendricks, Mary Ellen Weber, Nancy Curry, Don Thomas, pilot Kevin Kriegel, launch director Jim Harrington out on the tarmac talking with the crew. Along with the director of shuttle operations for Lockheed, former astronaut Mike McCulley. On what is evolving into a generally clear morning here at Kennedy Space Center. Mission Specialist Don Thomas, and in the back with Launch Director Jim Harrington is our pilot Kevin Kriegel. We saw the mate-demate device, which will be used to lift Discovery onto the 747 after it goes through its deservicing and goes back out to California for about 9 months' work of modifications to support construction of the International Space Station. And the crew now greeting the deservicing team, most of which are from Lockheed, our ground support contractor. These doors that are open are where the external tank mates with Discovery. What's become the traditional post-landing crew photo.